Hey Karen, it's funny. Yesterday, Renshank, is his channel name, his real name's Nick, sent me a private message um, from some neuroscientist that writes a blog. Novella is his name. I don't know what the page is. But he wrote about that conference that you mentioned that New Scientist apparently wrote a feature about. And, I responded to Nick that, I get kind of tired of these debates, though, you know, I'm certainly not an intelligent designer, but nor am I a reductionistic materialist. And I think ultimately both camps are working within the same paradigm. Owen Flanagan might be an exception, um, but the Churchlands, Patricia and Paul Churchland, as reductionistic materialists, are still working within the same Cartesian framework as the dualists in the supernatural camp, or the intelligent designers. Um, and the reason I say this is that Descartes laid out this conceptual distinction between the thinking substance, which is invisible and internal, and the extended substance, which is the body, the material world, which is essentially mechanical. Now, the Churchlands and many reductionistic materialists have kind of lopped off the thinking substance, at least explicitly, and attached themselves fervently to the extended substance, to the material substance. Now, the reason I say they lopped off the thinking substance only explicitly is because implicitly, if you don't assume as a scientist that you have conscious experience capable of giving you knowledge of the material world, you can't do science without that. So, materialists are implicit dualists because they assume that their subjectivity is outside this world, such that they can have an objective view of it and gather, scientific knowledge that tells them what the truth of the matter is. So this is why, actually, the intelligent designers who say that dualism between mind and matter is necessary are actually more logically coherent because they're being explicit about what is required for any kind of science to take place. But still, they're within this Cartesian paradigm that overall is inadequate, I think, because the problem with the dualism that the materialists will point out is that you can't explain how the mental and the physical substances relate. And there's just a major problem for many the 17th century philosophers like Descartes, Leibniz, John Locke, Kant. They're all struggling to relate the mental and the mechanical substances, and it's impossible. That's why it's a failed paradigm altogether. Which is why I'm studying Whitehead now, because it's a new ontological system where process is the fundamental thing, and substance duality no longer plays any role whatsoever. The mind is not separate from the body. The mind and matter are two poles of the same process. So I find these debates between the intelligent designers and the materialists interesting, but I don't get too overly dramatic about it because I think they're both wrong. It's easy to just step outside of a debate raging at the center of society and just say that yeah, they're both wrong. But that's what I have to do, I think. That quote that you gave of Flanagan about how, we no longer understand matter in the way that Newton and Descartes, and the people that formulated this dualism understood it. Matter is actually pretty active. It's more organic than it is material. And I would never deny that I'm a materialist, but I'm a materialist in the way that Flanagan described it. And we're still learning more about matter, space, time, energy. All of these components of what we call the natural world. And I certainly think whatever we learn about matter will be a natural phenomenon, obviously. The question is, what is a natural phenomenon? I mean, can pan-experientialism be true and still be part of a naturalistic methodology. And I think, yeah, of course it can, and it's necessary from my point of view, because otherwise, yeah, we can't explain the emergence of consciousness or sentience in the evolution of life. It had to be somehow prefigured in the matter which came before life evolved. Um, so it's a whole new paradigm, I think, that needs to be ushered in before these silly arguments between materialists and dualists, who, as I said at the beginning of this video, are operating under the same fundamental assumptions. We need a new paradigm before this can get worked out. So, in a sense, it's frustrating to see this debate raging, because it's totally beside the point. Or, at least that's my perspective on it. But thank you for bringing that New Scientist article to my attention, and also that Beyond Belief presentation by Owen Flanagan. I'd never heard him speak, so I'm definitely going to watch that. But thanks, Karen. Time to get back to my paper.